Good evening. This is the Rutland Town Planning Commission, and it's Thursday, April 2nd of 2026. Let's begin the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everyone. First item on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
Vote to approve. I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Any changes? Okay, all those in favor of the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the next item is public comment, but I believe everyone here in the audience and on the screen on Zoom are here for the pocket park. Is that right? Okay. And I don't see anyone else. Okay, we'll skip over that and move right to the pocket park. I told you it'd be quick. We get to it very quickly. So we are planning on opening a part of the pocket park this year. And the part that would open up would be off Simons Avenue, where that really big curve is, and where you can walk out. We'd like to put an overlook there, some picnic areas, and make that an ADA compliant trail out to there, and have a kiosk at the head of the trail near Simons Avenue, and as many additional signs, which we think we need few of, that we can talk to the Selectboard having in the park. So it'd be just that immediate area that will open up first. But I think there will be quite a bit of room for signage, historical signage there. Maybe I should have you folks introduce yourselves to the group here.
Jim Rowe, I am the Crown Point Road Association.
Okay, and Barry is with your group as well, who's on Zoom, and Dale Christie might be joining us later. Okay,
Tom Giffen, I'm a member of the SAR and other groups, and plus the Cemetery Commissioner for the city.
and the SAR is,
Sons of American Revolution, like the DAR, only the Sons of.
yeah, okay. And Barbara?
I'm Barb Giffen, and I represent the Rutland Historical Society and the Daughters of the American Revolution.
Yeah, and I forgot that we'd, in this first phase of the pocket park at Center Rutland Falls, we would be moving the DAR water trough,
Good.
probably near the entrance.
We've been waiting for that moment.
There's so many people that you've mentioned it to them and they've never seen it. They drive by there.
Oh, I know.
Sometimes. Relocate and make it obvious.
Yeah, yeah.
It's sad where it is right now.
It is, and it's also deadly because we tried to put flags on there, and it's like you're taking your life in your hands by that trestle.
It used to be in the middle of the road
Right.
years ago, but wherever you put it, I would want to make sure that there would be someplace where a truck would hit it, the snowplow, cars, it'd be someplace would be not so apt to be hit by a.
Maybe not too close to that curve.
We mentioned that by the entrance, that geez, it's been safe for a long time. It'd be a tragedy to have somebody take their vehicle and accidentally smash into it.
I
Yeah,
think what Barbara meant was going to be at the entrance to the park on the boundary of the property of the, but I don't know if that's what she meant.
Oh.
That's one of the things we will see.
so the town acquired that parcel from GMP, a little more than a year ago. They essentially gave it to the town park, and it's part of their relicensing for their hydroelectric project, and they're keeping they, GMP, and the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission are keeping a close eye that we do this park because it's part of that license. And there's a few other things. There's, some invasive clearing and some dead tree clearing that we want to do as well this year. So we met a few weeks ago with some indigenous tribes. The Stockbridge Muncie couldn't come that night, but I've had several conversations with them over the years and pretty much know what their concerns are. And they actually have some staff that can actually write up language for signs. And the Abenaki were here and met with us. And they had some ideas, and we'll be following up with them to kind of pare down what some of the language could be. So we're looking at a kiosk, hopefully a 3-sided one near the entrance, because there is so much to put, so much information to put up there. And as I mentioned, maybe some additional signs too, that can accommodate images and links to websites, and all of that being ADA accessible and child accessible and all that kind of stuff. So that's the overview. And we were thinking that one of the themes that might work for the history that you know so well is that area's role as a crossroads. Is that a good assumption to make?
I think it is. I mean, you're looking at the Crown Point Road went up through here, Mount Independence, Hubbardton Military Road, the bridge they built across Otter Creek. You had the road from basically Whitehall, Skeensboro at the time, that went to Rutland. So there was a whole lot going on here before.
Right.
To me, this is a very historic area right here.
Yeah. Yeah. And easily tied to the indigenous people because they use those same pathways, right?
Yeah.
Well, the Crown Point Road was technically a very early Native American trail, Connecticut River up to Lake Champlain. So it's kind of, most part of it there, the following road.
Right. And it first came to be for military purposes, right? For the 7 Years' War.
Well, in 1759 was the British had forced the French out of the Champlain Valley, and they're looking for a shorter, more direct supply route to southern New England. So they sent General John Stark with 200 of Robert Rogers Rangers to basically mark and cut the road, as they say. But for the most part, like I said, it followed that Native American trail, coming into the Otter Creek Valley, over the mountains in basically Shrewsbury area, and then into the Black River Valley, which comes right into Charlestown, New Hampshire.
Where would it be near Senator Rutland Falls, the old Crown Point Road?
Well, it would have been a little bit west of it, but not far. It certainly went up the west side of Otter Creek. And you know how the creek got all these bends, and it probably would have stayed away from it. And to actually pinpoint the exact route of the road, it's hard.
Right. Some parts of it you can still walk, but not this area, right?
We can kind of connect dots, walk between.
Yeah.
Because as soon as the road was built, they were complaining how bad it was. And that's why somebody says, oh, it went behind my barn and then in front of the house, or it went over the hill here. And they're all right. It did, but because it shifted some over the years.
Yeah.
Were you complaining about roads even then?
Yeah.
Okay.
What season was the issue?
So first it was used for military purposes, and it changed during the Revolutionary War?
Well,
or parts of it changed?
Some of it did. Especially, it seems like on the eastern side of the state. Here, it pretty much went right up the Otter Creek Valley, right? Pretty much the way it was initially laid out.
Okay.
Then even, I don't know, this, the Fort Rutland over on North Main Street. It actually came up 7 to there. And this whole road would have gone over to Fort Rutland.
Hmm.
So there's a lot to it.
Was there a connection to Fort Ranger that was,
Yeah.
it's near the cemetery, it was near the cemetery, right? Out here or?
As the water trough says on the, something like on the bluff opposite it. And the way the watering trough was initially set up, it's been relocated, so it's kind of confusing when you look at it. And you don't realize that it got moved, but it's actually would be behind where the water trough is now, so Karis Reels had a building there.
Oh.
It's been heavily developed.
That might be
Feel
something
free
good to put a sign on, to have a drawing or rendition of the original location of that watering trough so that people understand why it's moved to the park and where it was originally and how that location fits into the Crown Point Road. So I think that would be worthwhile having a display, a single board by the watering trough. It must be separate.
Was it part of the Fort Ranger or is it, I read something?
No, it was there dedicated to Fort Ranger.
Okay.
So they wanted to put it close to the original. I believe it was placed in 1912. Just very foggy memory. I think the trough itself was placed in 1912 by the DAR. But in memorial to Fort Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it talks about Fort Ranger and the Crown Point Road.
Right.
Right.
And how they intersect.
Okay. So the trough isn't too far from where the fort was, where it is right now.
It was right across the street right now, but I would dearly love it to get away from being dragged with all the salt. So
Right.
God knows
Right.
what is slashed on it. Because it is 100 years old. I mean,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
That's-
we've got trucks that can do that and now the will.
let's do it.
That's something to consider where, I mean, the salt, even though it may be further off the road, we definitely want to think about that. I mean, where it's proposed kind of by, what we've talked about, it's still kind of close to Route 4, which we all know salt, it goes a long way and it ruins a lot of things. So maybe it wants to be back a little more.
Closer to the overlook or
Yeah. And of course, there's a little salt off that side road there too. Whatever is that? What street is that?
And there's one across the river too.
Yeah. So that's something to consider. The placement's pretty important for that, I would say. Preserve it.
Put up some type of a shield as well.
Then it kind wouldn't that take away from the look of it? I don't know. It just seems like it would be nice to have it visible, but not so close that it's gonna continue to erode.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No, the state didn't want that real close to the road either. And when we first had a meeting, they seem to want to keep it away from the sidewalk, not out of that.
They wanted it out of the right of way. I think.
Which is really wide
yeah, which is good, right? I guess that's good.
for them right there. It's not 25 feet from the center line.
Oh, it's big there.
25 feet.
I remember that.
So does that sound, Barb, does that sound like a good plan for us to put it farther down the trail? I mean, there will still be a lot of trees there to maybe intercept some of the salt.
We're just mindful of where it goes. That's all.
Oh,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
of the other, so I know we have been. I'm just saying the salt, she brought up a great point. It eats everything. So we want to just really keep that in mind.
Okay.
Can we protect it somehow with
You mean
clear plastic and
Well,
enclose it?
some
Does that take too much away?
plastic fantastic stuff or something?
Bearing in mind, it used to be in the middle of the road.
So survive this long, but
Well-
I would think that wherever you put it would be away from any salt and any vehicle and survive this long. It's neat. It's just a neat piece of history that you, that's here in the town, and if you wanna put it where it can be seen, not be damaged, can be by cars. And, you know, it's pretty resilient, but as you mentioned, the more you put toward it, the Vermont weather is not great on anything like that, but it'd be nice to.
Well, I'll be glad to, when you get an idea of where you want to.
Sure.
Place it, I would be glad to zoom down
Okay.
and talk it out with you.
Okay.
And maybe we just plan to do some type of covering in the winter months when there's a lot more salt and debris on the road that would be splashing, and then uncover it between April 1st and November 1st. I don't know, I'm just making that up, but and that's also a possibility where you can do the most possible to preserve the structure.
Yeah, and we'd want to be concerned about its overall protection and safety as well, since it'll be more exposed.
Well, I don't know if you could be more exposed than it already is, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the Crown Point Road started out as a military thing. And then after the Revolutionary War, it was used for other purposes.
Yeah, I mean, it really opened Vermont up to settlement. Settlers that went through.
Yeah.
It just kind of grew from there, I guess.
Okay, so there's probably maps that exist of where it ran through this area.
Yeah, they're very general, but it's not like a nice topographic map with a surveyed line on it.
It has shifted a little bit in the 250 years, whatever. It shifted back and forth a few times.
But you have a website, your association.
Yeah.
And there's probably materials at the Rutland Historical Society as well.
Yes, because Rutland Town, believe it or not, was part of Rutland when it was first settled.
Oh, come on. We don't entertain those thoughts.
Yes.
We adjourn.
So, yeah, there are a few plats that are laid out. But again, they're pretty darn general.
Yeah.
Um,
Was there settlement down there at the falls before the Crown Point Road of European people or colonists?
I mean, we're talking 1759. I would say it's very unlikely.
Okay. So when did Mr. Mead come into the picture?
oh God, you should have given me homework. I would have had the whole thing all laid out for you. The family, actually, they had that lot of land around the falls, but then they also had some up on Grove Street, and somehow they went from point A to point B and back again. So
My memory is it was around 1769 that Meade showed up, maybe 1770 with his family.
yeah,
That's what I was gonna say.
yeah, that's very
This happens with voice from.
yeah.
Barry Griffith here.
And he would be the first person to settle that area that was not indigenous.
Correct.
Okay. And did he successfully settle there?
Oh, yeah.
Very.
Okay. And that was the beginning of some of the grist mills and such. Okay. And so the Crown Point Road was funneling people.
Yeah.
Up here about that time. Well, a little bit later than that.
Yeah, I mean, even prior to the revolution, people were coming in, and then of course, when the Revolutionary War started, put a break on all the really settlement coming up. But then after the revolution, it really ramped things up.
They had forts all along this whole area too, Fort Warren, and then Fort Ranger, and then Fort Rutland, and then up in Pittsburgh. So they had, you know, individual little forts all along the way on the Crown Road.
Mhm. Okay. And was it indeed a crossroads?
Here,
Yeah,
well, like the east-west road, what roughly the way Route 4 runs today, that was laid out about 1772 from the south end of Lake Champlain. It came along the south end of Lake Bombazine and then right on over through to north south Main Street in Rutland. So we're right through Rutland. What's up there is where Rutland was first settled or built up as a little village until the railroad came in. And as I say, everything slid down the hill.
Yeah.
That's right. Right.
So yeah, with the main Crown Point Road pretty much going north and south here, and these
Right.
other east-west roads coming in. Even the road from Mount Independence coming right to here. In a sense, it was.
yeah. Okay, okay. And, how soon did the railroads come part of that crossroads?
Was that 18?
Right before the Civil War.
It was a little bit before the, but I don't think it was 1840s. I think it was closer to 1850s. 1850. Grabbing here because I haven't looked at those records for a while, but 1853. I think. But yeah, it was just before the
So-
Civil War, and I think the first railroad actually of any substance was down in Massachusetts, and that was in 1840. So, but boy, did it bring in people, didn't it?
Is that what the railroads were mostly doing at that point?
No, they were for
Moving passengers or?
Yeah.
they were for trade and getting people from point A to point B.
Yeah. Where were most of the people that were attracted to those falls? Where'd they come from?
Massachusetts.
Yeah,
Everybody
Connecticut,
around here came
Massachusetts,
from
Connecticut, Massachusetts
Massachusetts,
came up.
Connecticut, southern.
There was free land, there was
Half-
opportunity that they didn't have in other places, even though there's more rocks than opportunity, I think, but and having Otter Creek and everything right here, the mills, everything.
the mills.
You take over, even today, you go by the old College St. Joseph, you still see all the structures that used to be part of the mills. Whenever there was a drop in water, there was a mill. And so, and that's just that's what we were. That's what it was people made a lot of money just with having a grist mill, having the water power and having the water right here. It's a perfect spot.
So even upstream of the falls, there were a lot of mills.
You could still see, like, again, I just go along with the College St. Joseph, but along Otter Creek, you can still see the East Creek, the foundations of the mills. You get very few places in Vermont where they had a drop in water. You did not see some entrepreneur from Vermont say, "Oh, I can make some money this way," and
Yeah,
put something in there.
yeah. How many mills or what variety of
There were,
mills?
you go from, they made slate pencils and Castleton. They made that. Whatever was available. A lot was for sawmills. There was grinding corn. I mean, there's just countless statewide. It's just everywhere.
Barb, how are your collections regarding the mills?
Well, it depends on the question. What kind of mills are you looking at? Because a lot of times, there aren't a lot. If they're early mills, there isn't a lot, just a notation that the mill was there. Otherwise, there might be postcards, things like that.
Right, photo postcards.
Yeah, the photo postcards, of the, you know, after the Civil War kind of thing. But, yeah, there were, you name it. I mean, this whole area of Bridgewater was stuffed full of, mills, woolen mills, so was, Cavendish and Chester.
Hmm.
They had their mills around here. They had, boy, they needed the grist mills to make flour. And one of the food sources was hardtack, and you have to have your flour for that,
Yeah.
especially during the Civil War and things like that.
Would it be possible to recreate or create like a map of that area down there with different mills?
Well, it's always possible. Whether somebody wants to do it or not is another,
Yeah,
we could dive into it.
yeah. I guess that would be one of my questions, how in the write-up and the signs, what we would be saying about the mills, the mill period, the early mill period.
It'd probably take some research, but you know, the information's there. We could spend the time to go in and, you know, town records and look and see.
Yeah,
Just even going through the town histories would kind of give you an idea, you know, which
Right.
direction to kind of go in for some research.
and it wouldn't have to be exhaustive. I mean, just something to illustrate
Yeah.
a variety.
My guess, if you look at the old maps that you have in the town, they would have a dot on there. It would identify certain
Yeah,
people who own property and what they had on the property. So I'd be shocked if there wasn't.
right. And then we might come back to you folks and say, well, who was, so and so.
Well, that information is relatively easy to find because the first landowners are written up pretty well in Don Hantz's book or in Marvel Swan's books.
Marble what?
Swan.
So I thought you said.
Really? Oh, you're fired.
I guess.
Okay. Um. How many signs would you recommend for that area for this period of history before we get into industrial mill activity?
Well, if you're going to do a three-sided sign, you could have certain periods.
Yeah.
One indigenous, and then the settling times, and then pre Civil War. You could kind of shape it like that.
What I've seen that's been successful in other places, let's take Hubbardton, for example. You have spots, you have a spot, we can read about this part. People won't read their signs high, they'll look at it quickly and, oh, that's nice. If you have little spots with information, you walk down the road, people be more apt to read, in my humble opinion, of course.
Right.
But that way, because you mean the historical markers are fine, and things of that nature, but you don't see people standing there. Oh, I'm reading the whole.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a kiosk might be too high.
You had something along the road saying, in this area, you do the history of it, and you work your way around it, but people will read things when they're in front of them, and you can do so many fun things now. You could even have it electronic. Even they push a button, it'll tell you. It's amazing what you can have now.
Oh, I
Yeah,
know.
the QR codes are amazing. They could bring you right, they could bring you right to the website.
We're definitely thinking of QR codes.
Yeah.
It'd be great to have some of this newer technology where you can get a story told to you, linked to it.
Well, you have
Yeah.
things now that as a cemetery guy, that you can have it solar powered, you press a button, then you have a person show up on the outside. It was kind of creepy, but kind of interesting. I always wanted to have like a giant dinosaur, wah, or something, But you could have this amazing, I was on with Boss now, with the grant they had, where they were all the stones that they have in the old cemeteries, and this is before all the technology you have now. Even you have your phone, you just push a button, there it is. All the information you put on that GPS site, pictures, name, it's all there in your phone. It's just amazing what you can do, and that's what a lot of people are doing in towns now with their cemeteries. Is they work with a lot of all the kids and who are much more talented than I am, and they go through each stone, take a picture, put the documentation they have with the GPS on their phone. So you get to that, you can say the stone's even gone now. They'll still say they all have all the information, pictures, names, their history, everything would be on that phone. It's just amazing.
Yeah. And how many resources like that do we have in the Rutland area that we could link to for something like that?
I would be as far as doing the work, or
As far as, what you would link to when you open up the GPS point.
whatever you want it to, and there's so much available. You'd have to narrow it down to what you want.
And just like create new websites or something, or
If you want to have things such as like on Mead, I mean, there's an awful lot of material on Mead. You can have all that put on there. I mean, and the links to different spots, and
right.
it's just the pearl is your oyster kind of a thing. You can do whatever you want. This is one of the things you get a grant or have a bunch of high school kids that are
Mhm.
interested, or college kids, and
Mhm.
you could do. I've seen amazing things people have been doing.
Yeah.
I think that with the QR codes and everything, the things that are coming down or available actually now, you could make it more interactive, because if there's more than two sentences, according to the KISS theory, nobody's going to read more than two sentences. You have to keep it sweet and simple. And however, they'll sit and watch whatever you have, or go to a link that you have provided all day long. So, it depends on how this is going to evolve.
Yeah.
For the kiosk, do you think focus more on images and just a couple of sentences per item?
People love cartoons and pictures, yes.
Yeah, I think as far as the roads, some kind of a nice layout of a map that would show how the roads kind of came down in here and where they came from, I guess, too.
Oh, you could build that. You could
Yeah.
build it piece by piece.
What does the road association do these days?
The Crown Point Road Association?
Yeah.
Well, throughout the summer months, we do a hike or a car tour along a section of the road someplace. And of course, it's always ongoing research. And time to time, we'll do a presentation to some group.
Mm.
So yeah, we've been active actually since about 1958. It was realized that the 200th anniversary of the building of the road was coming up. There was a group of people that were interested, got together, and they formed the Crown Point Road Association, and they had a big 200th celebration for it.
If I can add to that, Barry Griffith here, we do presentations. Some of you may be familiar with the Osher Lifelong Living Institute that has programs mainly for seniors at the Godnick Center. I gave a presentation on behalf of the Crown Point Road Association this past Friday, and there were about 100 people in attendance there. And I spent several minutes talking about the watering trough and the sad shape it was in, and how Rutland Town was coming to the rescue and putting in this pocket park. So hopefully I got to spread the word in that fashion.
Hey, thank you, Barry.
No pressure.
No, we don't feel any pressure at all. We want to do this.
So as far as I know, that, like I said, we've been active since 58, and I don't think there's 1 year or 1 month that we missed and not having a hike or a tour of some sort.
So I was gonna bring up to what you're saying, what Barry was saying, the kiosk would probably be a great place. It'll have probably like a plastic cover and, locked cover, and things underneath that would come and go. So we could put in things that are coming up, events, things like that.
A good idea.
Yeah. As opposed to what we're talking mostly about, signage that would be like made and then that's it. Okay. So what are we, any other topic that we're
Along the lines of like images, I think someone mentioned that there is a famous painting of the falls.
Yeah, was it?
You know more about that?
there's one of
James Holt did.
Yes.
Yeah, there was a
Gookins Falls.
I try to remember where it's located. That's
there's one at the public library.
I do. There was a painting of it, but I'm not sure where it's located today.
But I could
I'm sure about Don Hans's book.
Yeah.
Yeah, Don Hance's book references that painting, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure where the original is.
yeah, is she doing well and
She's passed.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know where it is.
We can probably get rights to reproduce.
Right, that's something like it'd be cool to have a sign of like the historical, like maybe in front of the view of the.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's something that would be very necessary for here, because it shows some of the old buildings that were up there.
Right.
old Buildings.
And those picture postcards are just amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, they captured so much history.
And I collect those postcards. I have a lot of them.
Do you?
People take the same picture every. I mean, I don't care how long it's like the downtown Rutland. They take the same picture of 1890 to the same shot. Only this the horses one time. Then you have Model A's, and you work your way up. It's the same. But it's the same. And same with the falls.
But that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's kind of neat to see the history of it. Huh?
Yeah. Okay. And can we say that the Falls area was Rutland's original settlement? Was the place where Rutland started?
I don't know if you want
I don't know if
that reach.
I don't know.
Okay.
Nice to say, but who's going to say no? I guess, but I don't know for
I
sure or
wasn't
not.
there, but,
Who's gonna say no?
Who's going to say no? Exactly.
Who's gonna say no until you put it up?
Oh, no, well, that's
well.
there. You go. There'll be somebody who'll say no. I don't. That's
I mean,
well, my pay grade. I think so. I
we
don't
know
know.
James Mead was here pretty early, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he was, he did get quite a few acres of land, but it was like,
Maybe I didn't phrase that right. Maybe what I've read is that the level of activity was the strongest there in early Rutland times. Is that
Again, I would want to hang my hat on it. It could be, but there's a lot of spots around this area that were historic, where people settled or people fished and. But like you
okay?
said, once you put, I agree with you. Once you say that, somebody will say, well, "Wait a minute, my ancestor 8 generations ago was living over here, and you're wrong, and take it down or something."
well,
Yeah.
You have to remember that these little forts along this road were all very, very busy, and they came in, and if they didn't want to settle, they split. So these forts were very busy, and people that came in are not necessarily settlers. They might have taken a look around and went westward. So at Rutland was there, and also the one in Pittsburgh.
I would contact
Yeah.
the state archaeologist.
I would
He,
think,
he would certainly have I think more inkling than we would, I think. but
yeah, I
he's-
think
but-
that, the state archives would be able to help you with that.
We could probably agree that it was a landmark along the road
Oh,
anyway.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
A
that's,
significant
that
landmark, yeah.
would be, acceptable for most people, I think,
Yeah.
unless they're really picking for a fight.
I think there was a New York surveyor here,
Mhm.
William Cockburn, and because New York was claiming the area here too at the same time.
Right,
And
right.
New Yorkers and the people in the grants weren't getting along too good. But I think William Cockburn, he might have even on his social borough map, which took in Rutland, Pittsburgh, and a little bit of Clarendon, noted where some of the people were living, maybe 1770-ish.
And we
Might
do
be
have a
good.
copy of that social borough.
What did you call it? What kind of map?
Social borough,
The New York land patent was called social borough.
Okay.
and we have a copy of that map that I just had, mounted on a board,
Yeah,
so I could find it.
yeah. Okay. So we can't say the first settlement, and probably can't even say the commercial center of Rutland in,
Google says the first settlement was in 1770 by Mead.
Yeah.
The Google says. Just for,
I think that's a good,
It, yeah, okay. In
in 1790, it goes on to say that the town center moved up the hill.
is it site sources?
No, it's just it's like,
I would argue with it. It sounds pretty good. But Jesse Rob, I mean, I know Jeff, the state archaeologist pretty well. I'll send him an email.
Okay,
I'll ask him for you and see what he has to
okay,
say.
thank you. That'd be great. I mean,
this is just a brief overview.
you know, it'd be interesting to have that, as part of the information, but there's plenty there. Even in the period we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
You know, with the, indigenous, travel and use of the area flowing into the military and the settlement area.
you take in like the Native American Trail, which became the Crown Point Road, just Otter Creek itself being there.
Yeah,
And all these other roads, and eventually the railroad and. mills.
I'm thinking as an old Vermonter myself is that I got a chances are with the Mead Falls would probably flood pretty severely every spring.
Mhm.
So I don't know how many permanent structures you would have down there because I think it would be quite it floods now. I can't imagine what it did back in 1775.
what would you name? Oh, there's Dale. Hi, Dale. What would you name the park?
oh,
We've been going with the Center Rutland Falls Pocket Park, but that was only because that's what GMP calls it. Primarily because of that. In their licensing and their plant.
Refer to committee.
Who's on the committee again?
I don't know, I'd give it a nod to either James Mead or,
What was it called back when the
yeah.
Native Americans were here?
We asked that.
Yeah, they gave us a name, didn't they?
Yeah, well, like, for Otter Creek,
Yeah,
but I think there are other falls on Otter Creek, so I would think we'd want to distinguish it, but we did ask them, like, in the Abenaki.
we didn't ask the Stockbridge Muncie.
True.
In
So,
Vermont, there are very few Native American names. Winooski, they pop up in news. In New York, you can tell, but where Native Americans had settled forever because there's Native American names for everything. Vermont, you have very, very, very few. Like Winooski's obviously Bombazine is one, but you don't have, like in New York, you cross the line of Whitehall, some of the counties, there's a lot of Native American names. So it would be kind of interesting to see what it was ever, if they had a name.
yeah,
So, but
Yeah.
but that's just throwing it out there, or call it what it is. It's Mead Falls. mean, that's what it was called.
Mhm.
That's what I keep going back to is Meads Falls.
Right,
Yeah.
I mean, that's all so if you don't have that, I'd say it's Mead Falls. This is what it is.
Crossroads.
Right, so I,
Yeah, it is what
is
your
what it
groups
is.
use. The Abenaki told us that, we have adapted some of their language. One of the words that we, we adapted was, uh-huh. But we don't have a very good track record about adapting too many.
Not good. Oh, we put a casino or something, right?
Oh.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, think the revenue,
Bring the tax rate down.
patch rate down, yeah.
Well, we've been trying to develop Business Route 4.
See the headlines of the Herald tomorrow.
Oh.
Planning Commission says casino on Route 4.
Barry or Dale, any thoughts? What we've been talking about, or?
Well, I've chimed in a couple of times, Barry Griffith here, and you've heard from me. I know Dale just signed on a few minutes ago, and I'm not sure how much Dale heard, and I know he's muted.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, everyone is open to us coming back with further questions and like, where might we find this citation, or where might we find some photos? And
I would suggest a member of the board make an appointment with the Rutland Historical Society and ask them to pull out what they have, and they'd be happy to show it to you.
Oh, gosh, are you ready for that?
Yeah. Well, they're open on Saturdays at 1, so.
okay,
So,
might take more than one Saturday.
Might take more than one person in one Saturday.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, do you have any ideas for us? Or any?
I was chopping at the bit to get that job done. Let's do it.
Yeah, it'll probably be the highway crew, so we might want to keep an eye on, the work.
So when, next week?
We're probably looking at the late summer, early fall. The opening will not be before October-ish.
Barry Griffith here again. With respect to the moving of the DAR marker, a couple of years ago, there was a marker that was moved that had originally been placed by the DAR in Pittsford from the east side of the Otter Creek over to the west side where the road ran. There was some confusion back 150 years ago about where the road ran. We had a nice rededication ceremony where we involved the town of Pittsford, the Crown Point Road Association, and the Daughters of the American Revolution. The regent for the state came down, and we had a nice little ceremony. And once this marker is moved, I think it would be nice to have a rededication ceremony and get the DAR involved. And I know the Crown Point Road Association would be involved, and of course you would be as well.
Great idea.
I would love to do that.
the SAR, I mean, there'd be a lot of groups would be interested. But when you move the monument, the other thing, when you place it on something, you should place it with either a piece of granite or something that would be, keep it off, not marble, because marble just absorbs the water. But you have a piece of something that you could put underneath it to keep it for the moisture from getting to it, in addition to everything else, because it would, Vermont, the weather is not conducive to these things.
What is it made out of?
Marble.
Granted.
It's a pretty unique,
I think it's granite.
it's a pretty unique monument. Most of the other ones, look like tombstones or some variation, but this was a watering trough, so it's presumably flat bottomed, and it was placed over a spring originally, so it fed water and the horses drank from it when it was put up in 1903.
My guess is it wouldn't surprise me if it came from the quarry in Whitehall, because the mausoleum in West Street Cemetery is made out of the same kind of stone, it looks like. So, and I was told by somebody a lot smarter than I am that that's where that stone came from, that Whitehall.
Barb?
Mhm.
The story I was told about that stone was a fellow, he's no longer with us today, but as a kid, he lived right across the street. It was a Joe Bania. And he was talking about the monument. He said it was up the hill from his house. He didn't know exactly just where it was, but then they moved it down towards the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
And then when, probably in the late 50s, when they changed the highway through there, he said it was really in the wrong place. And that's when they moved it across the road. So from its original position, it was moved down the street,
Mhm.
and then it was moved across to the south side.
That's what, yeah, it used to be up the road there.
Yeah.
And wasn't most, go ahead, Barry.
I was going to say, I have fairly handy a couple of pictures of it in its early location. I'd be happy to forward along to you.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. And Mead's land was on both sides of Business Route 4, right?
Yes.
There's a lot of it, but
7,000 acres, I think.
Yeah.
And you ended up with a house over on Sprompton Road.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And supposedly that's where General St. Clair stopped. A little letter, just talking about the Battle of Hubbard and then the retreat. And it's like on the road.
Mhm.
Looks like, Marcus like.
Any other questions for these fine folks? Normally look pensive, but
casinos, like, oh.
yeah, he's well, thank you. Unless you have any other questions for us?
Thank you, Barry. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and we'd love to be able to stay in touch and follow through on what some of the things we've been. Yeah.
About as much as we can. There'll be a whole lot of information to gather.
Yeah.
Hopefully a lot of questions that we can answer.
And I was going to mention, Barry talked about a rededication. The Stockbridge Muncie is most likely going to ask for use of the park or parts of the park for ceremonial purposes too. So just extend the invitation to any of your groups if you.
Oh, I would jump on that for something for a Rutland town to make that up, I think.
Yeah. Mhm. Not just with the Stockbridge Muncie, but
Right.
Look at a ceremonial site, so.
Yeah.
yeah, like they mentioned in passing something like, well, can we use it like if we got the elders together? Can we use it for, various events that they do?
Would they want it dedicated to them or?
No, that is, they want to use in the future.
Oh,
Yeah,
so we could promote those kind of things.
Mhm.
exactly. Yeah.
I'm hearing. Okay,
We have reenactors too, that are always looking for places to do that.
Right.
Along on the front of Crown Point Road and Hubbardton and past, there's so much history within 10 miles of here that the old could be part of it, whatever history event they're thinking about doing is to be part of it. People in this area don't appreciate the history that's right here.
Mhm.
There's so
Right.
much of it.
Right. And in that area in particular, the falls are nice. They're, with all of the industrial stuff that's gone on, it's not a pristine site by any stretch. And all the archaeological stuff has been broken up and pilfered or whatever. But the history will be key to this park. And linking back to it and showing the images that we have.
One thing I'm, with the approval, of course, of everyone else, is that the picture, if they're postcards, the photos of early times in the area there. You know, things that no longer exist, very nearby structures. It would seem to me those would be appropriate for display somehow, whether it's with a QR code or whatever.
I'll be happy to scan what I have and send them to you. I mean, no, there's a lot of, there's a lot of them floating around, all different ages. It's just what people did. They couldn't put pictures in the newspaper, but they could get, so the people take it like a fire. People would come down and take pictures of the fire and then make postcards out of them because they couldn't put the pictures in the paper. Technology wasn't available. So,
And a lot of them were colorized or whatever the right word is.
some are photo. Yeah, there's a,
Don't, knock yourself out about it.
oh, that's no big deal. Like
But it just seems to me that that kind of thing is
Mhm.
is very suitable, whether we do it by
Mhm.
QR code or we put one up and say other photos and whatever.
Yeah.
Seems like a nice place to start.
that's certainly something I would be happy to look through, see what I have and send it to you.
With a QR.
Somehow it should fit in. We're not there yet.
Oh, well, you can have, but those are
Well,
kind
they're
of,
coming.
but those kind of things, if somebody's interested that they belong with somebody that was, even the originals can go where they belong as opposed to somebody's album.
Is everybody
Right.
else comfortable with that?
Sure.
The
Okay.
QR code, you could actually have like a PowerPoint spreadsheet, PowerPoint, slideshow, on that QR code page.
Mm.
So you could kind of progress it.
Mhm. Have any of you folks worked with a consultant that might be helpful to us as we go forward?
Technology changes so fast, but
Yeah.
there's stuff you can certainly, I mean, things that I do even, it's like it changes yearly, the people you talk to and how things change, but I would certainly talk to the state archaeologists and those people and say what's available, what you're looking for, and there's what's out there is amazing. That they could, and some people do it maybe as a PhD project or something.
Yeah, the archives up in Waterbury,
They're
where they moved to.
in Barry, aren't they?
Well,
That's in Barry,
yeah, but the archives themselves, are they still up in
Middlesex.
Middlesex?
Oh, Middlesex.
Middlesex,
Yeah.
They're still in the flood zone?
Oh,
Who
sure.
knows? But the archivists are very good.
Mm.
Very, very good.
Okay, well, thank you so
Okay, well,
much.
thank you.
Great. Have a great night. Good meeting.
Abby, keep on that casino idea.
I'm sorry?
Keep on that casino idea, we'll talk.
I think it's your idea, not mine.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, all.
And let me know about the
Thanks, Barry. Thanks, Dale.
Welcome.
Good night.
Good night. For sure. Sure. You know, the big thing with that, I got
Okay.
interested.
Any follow-up to that?
I just have a question.
Yeah.
And I don't know, maybe I missed something. Are we still looking for a consultant to do the writing for the kiosk and those signs?
I think we are. We don't know yet, how much money we're going to get from the select board. And that has not been, officially approved yet. There should be some money in there and, we've got some money in our budget.
And we don't know what we want to do.
And we're not quite there yet.
Yeah, so.
But there may be people out there who can walk us through even the early steps, maybe.
But in terms of the content and in terms of the content, I would think we could come up with some, I hate to say limitation, but some idea of the size of what we want to do, because you know, once we get talking about it, it could, I mean, we could fill it up with just
Mhm.
points of interest that go to a website somewhere.
Yeah.
And there's a limit to how much we can do. I don't mean in terms of finances, but just to make it useful and something that people be interested in.
Right, and if you looked at the best practices, I mean, it
Yeah.
says, you know, put up something that people can read in like 45 seconds.
Yeah.
And
Does that
after-
include going to the QR code and?
No,
No.
no.
The more I hear from these folks and from Demetrio, the more it seems to me that for the most part, this kiosk or the signs are a launching point to off-premises information.
Mhm.
And that they're just gonna be the tip of the iceberg, so to speak.
Right, right. But we can put in some tantalizing things like some of these postcards, these beautiful postcards that they have. You know, even on one of the more permanent signs, you know.
But I think that my impression is that if we could focus on what we want to put on the kiosk in order to get people interested, that's the first step that
Yeah,
we have to go through.
Yeah.
We're limited as to how much we can do. And from my perspective, we'd want people to read it and want more, want a little more about that, know a little more about that.
it's a good point. I don't know the timeline on the kiosks. I mean, I got back to GMP right after our last meeting and sent, there was, Andy had some photos. One was at the West Rutland Marsh, and that's a 3-sided kiosk. So I sent them a picture of that, and haven't heard anything back yet. So I'll have to get after them. And yeah, I mean, the size of the kiosk is going to be critical.
I came across two different varieties of smaller signs that appealed to me. One Barbara and I have talked about on North Main Street. And then I forget what the other one was. It was smaller. I'll look. It was in town. It was in the middle of the city. And I found one that just really jumped out at me. I think I sent it to you.
Yeah, the one on North Main Street is where they took the dam out there by Rotary Park.
Mhm. Across the
Um,
Rotary Park.
Yeah, so it's one of those slanted permanent signs with images and quotes and
There's a lot of information on it, and I went by there yesterday again, and after I picked myself up off after falling in the middle of Route 7, and there was a little message in the lower right-hand corner that I didn't see the first time about Native American tribes who expressed their appreciation at what was being done or being a part of it. Let me just get it out for a second. The sign in the middle of the city is is on the east side of the intersection of Grove Street and State Street, right at the revamped parking area there. There's a wonderful little sign there.
at the courthouse,
Hmm?
the family courthouse.
Near it,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
But on the other side of the street is facing east, is to the left of the bike store.
Bicycle store there.
Yeah. But it's not immediately to the left, it's across the parking area.
What's the sign for?
Here it is.
That's an area that was always there, but it's been redone.
That's across the parking lot on the other side.
The entire parking lot, they dug up repaved it, redefined some of the areas around it, grass in it, and reopened it now. So it's really something that,
Oh, yeah, that's like what we're talking about.
And there's a bit, the one on North Main Street is bigger than this.
It's like it's at least 36 inches long.
Yeah, I know I took a picture of it. Oh, here it is. This is the one on North Main Street. It's slanted, it's almost perpendicular to the ground. And so you don't see it when you're driving by.
Yeah.
And this little section,
There's something from the Stockbridge Muncie.
yes, from the Stockwood Muncie, way in the right-hand corner, and I didn't pick it up the first time I went through.
Now, why do you suppose that the two, or at least the Abenakis, I keep hearing Stockbridge Muncie, but they were kind of under the impression that they had very little to do with what happened. And why is it? They seem to be the most interested in this area, which is,
Well, from what I've read, the Abenaki were, the tribes moved around.
right.
There were seasonal, places to be and, things to do. So this would be, for the Abenaki here, would be at the southernmost part of where they did all of their movements. Whereas the Stockbridge Muncie may have been a little more settled in this area. They certainly,
It didn't sound that to me.
we only heard from the Abenaki, right?
Yeah.
So when you talk to Stockbridge Muncie, they really feel like they have a claim to this area.
That's good. I mean, it's good that they're interested.
Yeah.
and they probably have information.
And they actually have a staff member, the Stockbridge Muncie, that one of her duties is to write signs up. Exactly what we're talking about. That's what she does. So I think they may have a few more resources than the Abenaki, and the Abenaki, we're talking about Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, and Canada, Quebec. They had a huge area.
The rest of the side.
And we're at the southern end of it.
Madam Chair, do we have an action step from this evening's discussion?
Yes.
Yeah,
Mary asked if there could be given some assignments and due dates for content, so that way there could be some forward progress.
okay,
Oh, that.
okay.
What is the content? Okay. I heard the words. What is the content? I heard the due dates, but for our giving them content or for us to describe the content, what?
And, how solid are we with the timeline for the park? So,
Great question, worthy of thoughtful and meaningful discussion. To probably be discussed Tuesday night.
hopefully, but yeah, I wait every meeting for a little discussion about it with the select board. Yes, we have some other groups to meet with.
That's what I was wondering. Are we still
Yeah.
meeting with more?
And I don't, that may have some bearing on how much weight we put on one theme or another. So we've got the railroads, we've got the marble company, although it's harder and harder to find people still around because most of it's in Scandinavia, right? For what's the place in Pittsburgh? The
Marble Museum?
No, the factory up
Oh.
there, the marble slough stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a Scandinavian owned company now,
So
so
they bought from the Swiss? Or the Swiss company?
Is it Swiss? Maybe it's Swiss.
It was 20 years ago. I don't know
I
if
think
it's
Yeah.
it
still.
still might be.
Huh?
I think it's still Swiss, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
What would you be looking for?
It's not home based.
But they wouldn't, who, from that company, who would have any, I mean, what they do with that product now, it just seems like we need to find somebody
Kelson.
more historical from the
Yeah.
marble company.
Right, but they still own like a lot of the buildings in Proctor.
Right.
It does?
Yes. So,
Well, the Marvin Museum. Who runs that?
that's closed down.
Oh, is it close?
Yeah. So as time goes on, there's fewer and fewer people who were, involved with Vermont Marble. And even some of the groups trying to keep the history alive, there's fewer and fewer because it's an international company and it's,
Would somebody from the town of Proctor, or one of the officials there, the town manager, be a point to somebody to talk to and say,
that person might have some ideas of who to talk to.
Yeah.
I reached out when we first had our first grant for the Pocket Park 3 or 4 years ago. I reached out, and that group, the historical group associated with Marble, was disintegrating. It just wasn't anyone to talk to.
What did Vermont Marble have to do with?
Oh,
it
it
was, I
was,
mean, I
they,
realize that but was it Vermont Marble?
yes,
That was the original.
Yeah. yeah. Let me see if I can.
They had the village there with the houses. That was
Yeah.
all part of.
Yeah.
Company housing, yeah.
Yep.
They used
So-
the falls for what? What did they, I mean, I'm just asking.
Power generation, I
Power.
think, for both water for cutting the marble and powering
So
saws.
they had a mill right there.
They did. That's what
Oh,
I
well,
understand.
Gout down in there.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well,
It was Gout.
Gower's down this way towards,
Yeah.
West Rutland, and the Vermont, Marble Quarrying Company is in Proctor.
No, I know that, but I mean, at the falls was the mill that they use, is that kind of where Gout is now?
Oh, over there.
Is that what?
No, it's all where the GMP,
Those buildings are right
buildings, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and, this way a little bit.
Yeah.
On the plateau that they were kind of talking about
Yeah.
earlier, where the fort,
but there was also
there was Rutland Marble Company
Yeah,
and Vermont Marble Company.
Yeah.
And then it went to Hydro after that, that site, but those were the big industries there.
who sent you that, Barbara?
This was some notes I put together when I was doing that first grant.
Okay.
And there's a painting of the mills. There's one in the Rutland Free Library reading room. That's a James Hope. But there's a famous Frederick Edwin Church one.
Oh, that's the one I was wondering.
Yeah.
Wait, is that in the?
No,
Free Library?
only the Hope one is in the library.
Ever see the Rutland in retrospect? You ever see that book? I think there's something there about Meads Falls. You ever seen that in there? I could swear there's
Is that
something in there.
like the
There could be.
quarterly?
No, Rutland in
No.
retrospect is a book.
One book?
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of photos. But I could have swore there was something in there about Meads.
I think I have that.
Huh?
Well, there's been a
I think
couple,
I have
couple books
Yeah, I have
about,
it too.
about,
Just it's focused mainly on downtown Rutland.
Yeah, there's a lot. It is, but I could have swore there's some tied to the history of Mead Falls, but I could be wrong.
and I think there's a book on Center Rutland, like a photo book.
There is. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Where?
It's hard at the. I
I've
think the
got one,
library
I think
might have
I've still have a copy.
Is there one in the railroad? Right here?
And, we need to talk to those folks too. And probably the Vermont Railway Company.
Rutland Railroad and Vermont Railway.
The museum folks, because they have the history. And just out of due diligence, we should probably talk to Vermont Railway Inc.
Seems like this name should have either history or historical in the name.
Like
You know.
historical pocket park.
Well, I think you dropped the pocket.
Oh, yes, yeah, yeah.
But,
And
you know what I
I
mean?
want to keep the pocket.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just seems like it'd be logical to have in the name because that is primarily what it's about. I mean,
Right,
you
yeah.
know what I mean?
It could be the Mead Falls Historical Park.
Yeah, something like that.
It sounds like, just from what I heard tonight, that building this around the falls, or having the falls referenced in almost everything that has gone on since,
Yeah.
important that's gone on, would be a way for us to focus and maybe start to get some idea of a focus, maybe.
Just found the painting.
The church one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Oh, yeah.
the pinky fluffy clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah. That's the Edwin
Oh,
Church.
Frederick Edwin Church.
Frederick Edwin Church.
Who's this?
The Falls.
It's like the most famous painting of the falls.
Oh, this from his painting.
Yeah.
No, but maybe.
Beautiful,
Mhm.
really.
Sure is.
Does that go right up at the top of the kiosk, a copy of that?
That's what I
Yeah,
think.
well,
You can get the rates too.
Mary Beth's gonna work on the copyright
I'll work on
issues.
If you can find somebody.
Yeah, so we have some more conversations to be had. I think I can just convince Mary that we're not quite ready to say we will have this sign done and this sign done that particular time.
Are we gonna write the material for the sign, or are we gonna get somebody? I was under the impression from the earlier on that we were understood and the select board understood that we needed expertise.
Right, and so we're working on that. We just don't have a decision. I mean, the project needs a budget. And then we can figure some of that stuff out.
Maybe the state historian or state archaeologist can refer us to some people who have the
Yeah,
ability to do this, or we'll be working on this for the rest of our life.
we could, but we're not going to do that.
Well, it's a long project. This is detailed.
I have a suggestion. No, I won't share the details.
Well, forget about it then.
I think it might be beneficial in terms of what Bill has said the select board has asked us to do. While we are waiting for other conversations to happen, I think we have enough grist, Bill, to be able to take away a task and come back next time with a report. So, for example, I don't want to volunteer anybody or won't tell anyone, but Jerry suggested the book that might give us some ideas. And if you can locate one of those, then we could bring it back to the next meeting. Norm has talked about, the archivist or the archaeologist up at the state. Maybe he can make a call and find out what recommendations he would have for himself. Mary Beth has the painting, and she can locate where that painting is, and maybe we could start, figuring out if we could get some rights to a picture of that. And somebody else can contact the railroad museum. And then we come back next week, and we have next week 3 weeks, and we report on what has been found, and then you have some information to share with Mary as these steps on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have not felt the pressure that Bill mentioned. Nothing has been said in a select board meeting per se. I think this is more along lines of friendly advice, just that one of the thoughts I had is that we could go back to the people we've talked to and will be talking to and ask them to send us a one-pager of what they think should go on. And then we play the role of editors, at least for text.
Mhm.
But they can also give us some links too. But they are critical to this, to our ongoing efforts, because they have the information the state archivist might have, and we can make the same request to the state archivist. It's like, what would, give us a one-pager on Meads Falls.
Or do we have an existing summary of the area around Meads Falls or anything like that?
There are some picture books. They mentioned, the one author, Dawn, forget her last name, who's deceased. She and,
Don Hanson.
yes. She's written about it. It's like all history. There's not one definitive piece of literature out there. They deal with different things and they all have interesting tidbits.
Is that kiosk, is everybody envisioning that's gonna be something that can be changed?
Yes.
Information?
Yeah.
So it seems to me like as far as time goes, that if that can be changed, we ought to get some summaries from people, get some and start thinking about that content and maybe whether or not that takes a person. But it seems to me like this gotta start happening pretty damn quick, or October's ridiculous. It's not even gonna come close.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if that all can be changed within that kiosk and they're open, maybe it starts with something that's not the perfect thing, but it gets us going, it gets us rolling, because the permanent kind of placards, whether they're angled or whatever, that is gonna happen kind of in the next step. Is that right?
We might be able to do some of them, but
So those are the ones that once they're there, they're permanent, correct? Or, I mean, they're fairly permanent.
most of them are made that way, yes.
But at least the kiosk information there, I mean, I don't think you want to put something stupid or crazy in there, but I think if it's changeable,
Yeah.
we need to kind of put a wiggle in it.
Well, there are two aspects. I think we talked about this previous meeting. One aspect is, what is the historical importance? And that's not gonna change. That's just going to be the historical record of what people have
Yeah.
identified as important. And then there are gonna be the changing events, other things. So there'll be two sections, however it's laid out, top and bottom, side to side. It doesn't.
Well, also like flood warnings and,
Yeah. But,
sewer overflow warnings and.
and that can actually be on someplace other than the kiosk, but that's another issue altogether. But to your point, Jerry, I think we could send out a query to all of the people, and Barbara, you have all of these contacts. Send out a query. What are the three things that you think are the most salient from your perspective that you would like to have presented?
Right.
And a couple of lines
Right.
to describe, period. That's it. Doesn't even have to be a page. And then
Sure.
as all of that comes in, we can then process it and decide, okay, this sounds really great. Maybe we can get a few more lines out of this because it sounds like something that would be interesting. It'll still meet the 45-second read and we can develop it from there. But right now we have zero except lots of ideas and discussions. And this at least puts it into three concrete recommendations about the three most salient points their group would like to highlight with respect to the historical significance of Mead.
Yep. That's a good approach. And if they have more than three, I mean, they just send.
They can send more,
Send
but
them along,
the
yeah.
point is that I want to instill in people the idea that it has to be a priority. What are the top three?
Yeah.
We can throw out other stuff. If we have time, we'll put it in.
Yeah.
But when you tell people that they have only three things, then they have to really concentrate on what is the most important.
Yeah, that's a good point. And even the indigenous, I mean, the Abenaki, the guy from Brattleboro was going to do this for us.
Right.
Remember that? And the Stockbridge Munsee have a staff that will do this.
So we send it to them, they can get their staff person or whomever to put those three things together.
And I
come
think
over.
the people we had this evening will do that
Do the same
for
thing?
us.
Right.
And the railroad, like you said.
Hopefully, the more we can get the response from, those folks.
So let's try this.
It'll be a little more difficult, I think, then. Because they're corporations and, They
Let's
probably don't
try
have-
this and get that out to whoever the contact person is for each of those groups and tell them that we would like to have this in time for our next meeting, which is 23rd. Is that right? Am I?
yes, but, the bylaws are ready. The subdivision bylaws are ready. Everything's up on our website, the final bylaws, the notice. So we're having a public hearing on the 23rd of April, our next meeting.
Okay.
We've got a subdivision that at the Thomas Dairy Place that we will most likely be considering. We're trying to ask them to hold off and
Well-
wait for the bylaws to be. Yeah, so
My
I know we've got other stuff that we do, so,
my point
kind of
is,
gets in the way.
that has nothing to do with our agenda. That's just a deadline for them to get us stuff. Bill puts it together, he hands it out to us at the next meeting, we can do it for the following meeting. It doesn't mean that we have to evaluate it and sit down and have a subcommittee meeting on it at the next meeting.
Right,
It provides a deadline for somebody to get us information, which is something that we're looking for. And then we can evaluate that afterwards. I mean, many times you or Bill will send us something out the night or two before our meeting and say, this is just for your information. So that's what we would get, and we put it on the agenda, and now we have something we can go on. And we can still have an agenda that is already filled up tonight.
yeah,
Without-
so I'll work on the companies in the meantime as well, and reach out to the people we've already spoken to and make that request.
Three salient things, that's all.
Okay.
That's simple.
Okay, yeah, and that will help us a lot. It's, we're gonna have a crunch period. When we do figure out the timetable of this park, there's gonna be a crunch period, for us in particular. And I don't think we have enough yet to,
As you said, whatever we put on the kiosk to start with, doesn't have to be there for 6 months even. We just need something to start.
Agree.
It doesn't have to, doesn't have to even include any references to.
so are you saying that if there is money to do additional signage this year, that we
Why?
don't
Why?
take advantage of that?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
That we just concentrate on the kiosk.
concentrate on the kiosk, and we can build from what, and
That's a starting
building,
point, yeah.
building what's on the kiosk means we throw away everything we put there in the
Probably
beginning
makes
and have
sense.
something better.
I think there's some logic to that that makes sense to me, because the kiosk is the kickoff point.
Yeah,
And now it's an overview, I see it as an overview of the park. So we really ought to focus on that and get that done. And then the signs will fall into place in a sense,
Yeah.
because we'll know where to go from.
Yeah.
And the information that Dan is suggesting,
it's still valid.
oh yeah, absolutely, because that would be for the kiosk.
And maybe an afterlife, additional
Well,
use of another sign.
it's a place to look.
It-
We don't know
it's-
what the hell we're doing. So, so basically, it seems to me that Daniel's come up with a good idea. Sherman focuses it, and it's a place to start, and then we can.
Yeah.
You have to do all the groundwork.
Well, I can at least tell the select board on Tuesday night, we have a plan.
And we have a timeline. We're looking to get at least some information back to us by the next meeting.
And not being harsh or
Yeah.
critical. But, and There's nothing that's gonna say these people are gonna respond in 3 weeks.
No, I know, but we can put it out there. If you don't put it out there,
See
you
what we
don't
get.
get anything.
Absolutely.
I've been in the business long enough as an educator that if you don't give somebody a deadline, nothing ever happens. If you give them a deadline, they'll have all kinds of anxiety over it and they may miss the deadline, but at least it will keep it in their forefront of their mind and they will get it to you shortly after that with a reminder from somebody.
So the meeting after that is May 14th. What if we give them until May 1st?
You can
3
pick
weeks.
whatever date you want. You can put it whatever date you want. I just threw it out there because that's when we're meeting again. So,
We have a full agenda.
but we're not gonna put it on the agenda, Barbara. Nobody needs to know. We need time to, Bill needs time to print them all out and copy for us. I don't know.
Well, we may not have the information by then. That's the other thing.
Well, we may not, but if we don't ask, we're not gonna have it in 3 weeks.
No, we asked, but I'm saying, let's not put it on the agenda because if we don't get anything.
Right.
We don't have to.
Well, that's why I was
explain it.
thinking that if we got something by the next meeting, then we can put some kind of an agenda item on for the 14th.
Yep.
If we don't have anything till the 1st, then we aren't likely, unless Bill and Barbara are gonna pull that together in a week, to have anything by the
2 weeks.
meeting on the
Can I ask
14th.
a quick question about changing the subject? Sorry, but, the bylaws have been approved by this board? Or they've been sent, or are we still to approve them? The subdivision bylaw.
Right. We looked at the latest recommendations from Kevin Brown at our last
Yep.
meeting, and we finalized the language.
And you approved it? And it's approved by this board,
We sent it.
the final language?
No, is it in the minutes that we moved to approve them?
Just
We can do
question,
that
just
tonight.
ask. I mean, if it's going to a public hearing, have we approved of it, or do we do that after?
So.
We haven't
Well,
formed-
Copy the last meeting when we sent the message out saying, here, we take a look at it, like you get comments, few people did, and they were all very. Like, very focused and very specific to a couple different things, and there was really no changes other than that, so.
But I mean, when do those things get discussed? Do they?
Every meeting we've had,
Yeah,
for
so.
the past couple of months.
You wanna make, or you talk about making additional changes to it?
I'm saying, I'm not saying that
We took
necessarily
no
changes, I just asking if what I read, what was sent and what I read, is that the final thing that goes to, is that what the, select board is gonna,
First, we have to have a hearing. And that is set up
for the public?
for the 23rd as well.
Next.
It has to be, Bill has to send them out to, there's 8 different people that get this, the Regional Planning Commission, the state gets a copy, and then there's 6 municipalities abutting us that get a copy of bylaws that we're having a hearing, and this is their chance to speak out about them. We have just been tweaking away the last couple of meetings. We have not changed anything substantive.
The only thing that changed was like some capitalizations, some singular to plural, and like. What you've seen is what it is, that's.
Yeah.
And if you feel more comfortable tonight, Bill has not sent these out. I think they're,
I don't wanna belabor, but there's some I definitely don't like, but I'm not gonna belabor tonight's meeting if it's, that's.
You like the slope thing?
Yeah, I just in general, I think it's like exactly what townspeople don't want to see. It's zoning. That particular, those lines to me, that's got zoning written all over it. And the town attorney said that he didn't like that language, but
we took out like half of that language.
but it's zoning. I mean, and if there's not, how do you enforce that? How do you enforce someone building at the height of land, or building with to minimize visual impact? I mean, if we're worried about visual impact, and we're worried about, I see in there, one of the things that was discussed in there was agricultural land. We're worried about visual impacts in farmland, why were we fully behind Thomas's putting, I mean, I have no problem, no axe to grind with the Thomases, but solar fields on agricultural land. But that was totally like, we approved it. I mean, I did. I didn't see a problem with it, but I'm just, that verbiage in there bothers me that we're not consistent, in my opinion. I mean,
We're consistent.
what kind of
with-
visual impact does that have driving up North Main Street when you hit Rutland Town? Or when you drive by the old Thomas farm and you can see it from all over the place. That didn't seem to be a problem. So where's the consistency? You're gonna tell somebody they can't put a house where you can view it on a hillside? And how do you enforce that?
All we can go on is what's in this regard, is what's in our municipal plan. And we do have some scenic,
But then why wasn't that taken into account when they put solar fields on agricultural land?
we did take it into account. You know, our municipal plan says they can be on agricultural land. And what we did for scenic resources is we found like 20 places around town that we thought were valuable enough that we would
I
take
just-
a
I just think there's a real lack of consistency there. It's just an opinion. That's why I was asking if I wanted.
To your point, Joe Donato was told no. And Thomas's were told yes. So what's the real big difference in those?
Right.
Really?
He was told no by who?
Yeah.
By us?
Mhm.
That he couldn't put solar on his.
That it was considered a view shed. I remember him, he came.
No,
I don't think
he
so.
didn't have soil compatibility, solar. He had too much wetland there. It was the solar developers.
Yeah, it was. It
Backed
was,
out.
Dana. He was a long way from three-phase power. It was an infrastructure issue with him. I don't think it was as much the view shed.
I just remember the view shed being a sore point with Joe. So
Yeah.
whether there were other mitigating factors, I just don't remember, but I know that Joe was upset with the conversation because he was asking generic questions, but with an eye towards possibly developing something
Yeah,
on his land.
but the overriding thing is the developers were not interested in his land.
I don't remember that. Maybe it happened. It was not in my,
That's how I remember it too. But so anyway,
in my.
long story short, I just feel like that verbiage to me seems like it's zoning. I am for a minor zoning document. I have been since the time I've been on here 20 years ago. It hasn't ever happened, and we've gotten close, but we've never gotten there. I'm for that in a minor way, but I just think that a subdivision bylaw seems like that particular part of that seems like a little bit of end around with a little bit of zoning attached to it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, so Kevin has looked at that and we adjusted it according to the comments he came up with. Plus, in the municipal plan, we've got the 20% slope indicated in that as something that we would look at carefully with development. And part of that was to get emergency services.
Fire department, what's his name came and talked to us about.
Chief Chaffee at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
It just seems
Primary.
whether you can get a fire truck there or not. I just think it's difficult to tell somebody what they can and can't do with their land just because it's sloped. To me, that it just seems like we're asking for people to, I think the way I read it, the town attorney was absolutely for striking all that. And I was surprised it was left. That's all. And I've said my piece. I'm good. There's nothing I'm going to do about it. I'm good with it.
You feel correctly. I think we struck everything that the town attorney recommended we strike.
right.
But the slope was left.
Yeah.
But he didn't say we had to strike the whole
Right.
thing.
But he said it would be very difficult. I think I can't remember the exact words. Be very difficult to defend that if you were challenged.
And I think that, and I know what you're saying, you know, and think about what how many areas of town is that actually going to apply to? And then of those areas, how many are going to get subdivided, how many are going to, like, I think,
I agree with that, but that comes back to that thing of, kind of comes back to that thing of consistency. Our words here, and we've all said it before, and I know Dana has, our words here matter. And if you're not gonna be, just because it's unlikely, the words still matter, you know what I mean? It's,
stuff, because I've been looking at this, because I've got to create a whole new set of applications and things based upon this too, and I was thinking, like, is that one of the questions put on there is like, any part of the property exceed a 20% slope, you know, like there's some qualification questions going in there too, to be able to go through some of these, and you know, I think it's going to come down to, you know, I don't really know. I mean, it's, yeah, I know what you mean. I think Kevin, I think that was like the one topic that Kevin was like, kind of didn't really come down hard one way or the other. Everything else was like all in or all out. And
well, it's unlikely, I know, that we're ever maybe gonna run into this even. I mean, it may not, but it just seems to me that those words to me, out of all that stuff, if I'm a townsperson who's been against zoning and against zoning and against zoning, those words to me are the thing that puts a burr under the saddle.
That may be, and they're certainly welcome to come to the hearing, but I think as a group, we as a group, want to include this for emergency purposes, emergency response purposes.
I get it. I don't. I mean, I'm absolutely against that little section of it, but I understand why everybody else might be for it. I'm good with it. I'm just saying, I'm not, but that's all. I'm not asking that anybody changes their mind. I was just putting my point of view out there. I've been doing this a long time, and one of the things is zoning. Every time that comes up, or these types of things, if there may not be one person, but if there is, you'll see. There's certain people that have shown up every time we've had zoning, and it bothers them a lot when there's something that is going to take away from their property, and we're sitting here, and then the select board are going to tell them what they're going to do with their property. And that was the only thing in there that I felt like was something that was
not even the bonds. I mean, I thought the bonds would trump every.
You can, okay. Well, I'm good. I'm done.
Thank you.
I am. I'm not talking about bonds, and I'm just talking about something that bothered me because I've seen it over and over. Been here a long time, and it just bothered me, and I wanted to question it. That was all. I'm not going to talk about the bonds and get on other things that that was it. I'm done. I'm good with it. I'm totally good with where it's at. I just wanted to say my piece, and I did, and I took everybody's time up, so I'm good.
And the same questions may be raised, so it's good that you brought that to our attention, because that could be something that comes up.
And perhaps not, but maybe. Enough said.
For our purposes, boundary line adjustments have changed a little bit. They're not all going to come to us. If you've read the bylaw, that Bill's going to take care of most of that work.
Most of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And if he has a question, he'll bring it to us. And he'll be signing off on them as well. So there goes all our
we'll only
business.
get something that is not clearly obvious, Bill.
Yeah. So yeah, we're ready to go with this bylaw.
Move it to the table.
So that'll be that's at the hearing. Start off
23rd is what.
next time's meeting.
Yeah, and we'd like it on the 23rd, because after we have a hearing, we send it to Selectboard and they have to have a hearing. Be nice to get this wrapped up. So does anybody have any issues with us wrapping this up and doing the hearing on the 23rd? I thought that was where we were all thinking about as we were going through the
The last
drafts.
time we talked about this was 2 meetings, so. We didn't talk about it. It's the other stuff.
Yeah.
That's okay. I think that what the plan was is that we were going to do that was back in February, we did the indigenous people and last one, the meeting minutes, which looked at the pocket park and, Greg's, presentation, and then this one was supposed to be this evening's meetings was, I thought we were going to be revisiting, the bylaw. And this group came, so that's okay. I don't have to have the agenda in my head. But I think, as Jerry said, we're done talking about it. Let's just.
Are we ready to move on? I mean, I can't tell.
Well, was anyone not ready to move on this?
There was one area that I didn't totally understand. It was somewhere around line 352 or something, talking about the survey plat, and that whatever the piece of land was going to come out of, that they had to, I think, they had a survey plat had to include the entire parcel. And one of the concerns I had was if that's the case, if we had somebody with a several hundred acre parcel, what does that mean? Do they have to actually map that entire 700 acres, or are they going to just describe it in some other way? I figured that there may be something that I missed there, but
Hopefully we won't have a subdivision that large.
somewhere around 352 or something like that.
Like a copy.
Major subdivision plat requirements,
Copy the final.
Yeah.
final plat.
I thought, Howard, while Barbara's looking for that, I thought that discussion focused on if there was a big thing, that it would be a small insert would be showing the entire plat with the general location of the parts to be subdivided, and then the subdivision plat would show the contiguous boundaries of the area being subdivided.
That's what I kind of wondered that's probably what it was meant to be, but I just wasn't sure in my own mind if the way it was worded, if it meant that, and then they talk about, showing all the additional parcels around it. I mean, if somebody had a several hundred acre parcel, they certainly wouldn't want to be dealing with that. They're only going to be selling a few acres. They'll do that and not map the whole thing.
No, but if you're carving something out of that few hundred acre parcel, then the only thing you need to show on the plat is that parcel with whatever is touching the outside.
Yeah.
And then you can have an insert, and I thought this is what we had discussed. And then that would show its relative location to the whole 700 acres.
The insert mentioned something about include 2,000 feet.
Yeah, the vicinity map is called. Yeah, it shows all the area within 2,000 feet of any property line of the proposed.
When it means all the area, what does it mean? Just the roads? I mean, it's not going to mean showing all the property lines within 2,000 feet. It's just showing geographically where it is on a map. I guess.
Geographically, 2,000 feet around what they're proposing to subdivide. And I don't see any other reference to any size other than the size of the plat.
Not good, like
The line,
352 or something like that.
they're gone now, the line numbers.
So Bill, while Barbara's doing that, could you print a copy of the bylaws for me, please?
There's several on the desk there.
On the desk,
Oh, okay.
and they're on the website. I don't see that, Howard.
That's it.
Yeah.
Maybe I've got the wrong.
There's not a lot. Of
Well, yeah, but the three fifths use is boundaries and area of the entire lot. And in parentheses, says whether or not all land therein is to be subdivided. Is got the North Point scale date. Yeah, maybe I was looking at a different version of this too. I'm almost thinking it was a little bit different than this, but.
Norman, it's too late for that.
Okay, looks like there's four, we just have 4 copies here.
Okay, I think the intent is that not to make them put this whole thing together, I mean, because we have a number of, farmlands and whatnot, are huge tracts of land that they ought to be able to sell off a piece without really getting too involved with the entire. But I think it's good.
Of the parcel,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah, especially if it's a huge parcel.
yeah, so I think, we've been clear that we've been pushing for finalizing this bylaw. And Bill's been clear when he said, get your comments in. So that's what we've been doing for the last couple of weeks. Getting it ready. So if everyone's comfort level would be higher if we made a motion to approve the bylaws. There is nothing that's any different than what was in Kevin's last set of suggestions. We put the suggestions in, fixed some minor typos.
It was just really form, not substance. We adjust the format, not the substance. In the last go round.
You've seen all of the substance.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And what Kevin did, his final changes came to us in red. There were some comments, and the comments all had to do with, as Bill said, punctuation, plural, spelling, capitalization. Nothing substantive at all changed.
But the last time we talked about it wasn't Kevin. We were talking about it with respect to some of the questions we had with respect to, what's his name? Who's no longer at the Regional Planning Commission. He was the one who created Logan. Logan's comments with respect to those. We had a bunch of questions for him. He got back to us
Months ago, right?
Right, but that was the last thing that we discussed after Kevin had given us his feedback. That's my recollection. Am I not right? He gave us,
Logan left in December. Regional Planning Commission.
he had given us those and we met, I don't know, it was January or when. But he had gotten back to us with respect to all of the questions we had for him about certain types of language. And went
That was a long time
to
ago.
Kevin, right? I need to check my- It doesn't matter.
I think we've been pretty methodical putting this together. Mr. Hughes, did you want to say anything to the Planning Commission?
No, thank you.
Okay, just listening in.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, they're going out then. Um,
So we need a motion to warn a hearing. I'll make a motion to warn a hearing on the bylaws for May 20, excuse me,
April.
April 23rd, sorry. I was looking
is there a second?
at- 1 second.
Okay. Any more discussion? All those in favor of holding the hearing on April 23rd, subdivision bylaws, please say aye.
Bye.
Aye. Opposed? Be nice to put this behind us. There's a lot of work has gone. When did we start work on this? When did that committee, when did
That
that,
was 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, I was gonna
it was
say
in
2.5 to
24?
3 years.
Yeah. It was November of 2024.
Okay.
Hasn't even been 2 years.
Well, maybe it was November 2023.
Feels like 10.
I think it was November of 2023. I can go back and check my notes. I don't have those with me. So it was a different project.
Okay, let's need to wrap up here for some of the members. The old business, best practices for the pocket park, we sent those out.
Madam Chair, I have a comment about those. Having read them in detail, prior to this meeting, it seems to me that most of those points were discussed with either members of the planning commission or our guests who were present. So I would say that, those can be set aside, and maybe, re-examined when we are ready to move forward with the pocket park. Sometime after next meeting, or perhaps
Okay,
on the 14th, because everything that was in there, maybe minor exception, was covered this.
and I would like to add, in us reaching out to the people we've talked, and getting the 3 salient points, if there are any questions that have not been answered that you would like to direct to them, let me know. Give you a week, so April 9th, get any comments back. If you have some suggestions, for what we think should be salient points or anything like that. Announcements. Jerry Howard, Sherman, and Andy were reappointed by the select board.
Right?
Very narrow 5-0 margin.
And you were the only one that dissented?
Vote.
I know.
Besides the Thomas, subdivision, or is this the boundary line adjustment?
No.
It's a subdivision. Okay, we'll do that on the 23rd as well. In addition to that, there is a solar, development proposed, it's on, they say the south side. I kind of look at it as the east side of, Route
I
4.
think it's right next to the road. There's nowhere else for it to go. Like it's
Yeah, but it is screened. Like, it is kind of screened. It's near Bellevue Lane. This is just a 50 kilowatt, a net meter project, that same Sun is developing. It's owned by Killington Heights Real Estate LLC. The project will be developed, installed by Same Sun and owned by Dichotomy Capital LLC. So they sent us a 45-day notice. And this was March 6th. We told them that they could come on the 23rd, that we couldn't meet with them tonight.
I invited them. They have not responded.
Okay, so we may or may not hear about this, but it's a small little solar
Where is
development.
Bellevue Lane?
It's off Route 4, not quite at the Mendon line.
It's the old Nordic Inn.
Again,
Used to be Nordic Inn.
Nordic Inn.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there's that. And there will be some developments at the old Flory Plaza. The Angus, what's it called, Angus?
Maple Angus.
Mabel Angus is moving into the city. Is moving into another property that they own, which is the snack shop or whatever it's called, right down the road here. And the entertainment place is leaving as well.
Yep.
Okay.
Wow.
So that will be empty.
Oof.
Any word on what the time frame might be?
They've got some remodeling work to do up there before they're ready to move in, but
Right.
I'm guessing it'll be before the end of the year.
What's happening to the amusement place? Are they going to the same
They're going
location?
to rentals only. They're not gonna have a hard location anymore.
Okay. So yeah, there's that. Any other announcements? Okay. Yep, that's fine.
I won't be here at the next meeting. I'm in California vacation. Sorry. We miss all the excitement. 23rd.
Southern Cal or Northern Cal?
Northern. Visit brother-in-law and his family. Redwood area.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess all we've got left are the minutes from
Move to
March
approve.
12th. Your second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Look great. Thanks, Bill.
Okay, all those in favor of the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Opposed? Hey, I guess we're ready to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.